All right, here we go. Final thoughts of the whole experience. Not just the DLC, but the base game as well. The base game, what a phenomenal game. The best part about it was the acting and the characters, Kaz and Roy. Man, they were so good. And what's the boss's name? Finley was the woman. Rickety Cricket. I don't fucking know. It was so good. I love the main game. I was under the impression, and this is my fault because like I feel like skimmed through the trailer for the game, and then I just bought it because it was on sale. It was nice and cheap. I skimmed through the trailer. I thought it was like a self-defense game. You can actually fight against the horror. That was not the case. It was very much a run away from the horror, which I'm not a particular fan of those types of horror games. I want to be able to fight back. But the game was so freaking good that I did not mind one bit. On the horror aspect of things, honestly kind of shocked that I wasn't really scared for most of the playthrough. There were instances here and there that kind of spooked me, but for the most part, it wasn't that particularly scary. Which is even more odd because the ocean is pretty fucking terrifying. And as someone who can't swim, you would think that something like that would like enhance the experience even more. Like that would make it even scarier. But yeah, I get the feeling this is it though. That's it. This is just a one-off. There's not going to be any more to this game. There's not going to be any more as a series. It's not going to be a series. It's just a game. Although, you know what, I could totally see them doing like another instance of this, just like in a different time period, like far further into the future, or they could do like a little bit further into the past where like the sea horrors are coming onto land or some shit like that. What I could definitely more see is this maybe like being maybe a singular story within a greater universe. I think that would be the most interesting. And maybe like in another game, in another one of their games, there'll be like a callback like, oh, hey, this incident happened in this location. An oil rig just fucking disappeared. Let's talk about the gameplay was mostly just running around and shit, and honestly, like I said, I'm not a particular fan of just running and hiding. I do want to fight back, but the story was really engaging, and in particular the characters themselves. All the horrors that were happening around you had a very like, it was pretty beautiful, honestly. I mean, yeah, it most of it was like fucking gross, like growths and pustules and whatnot. But like when you like head outside to the top of the rig, like you'll often see just beautiful colors within the that deep sea horror that was just growing on the all around, like wrapping itself around the rig itself. Is very, very beautiful. Going up that elevator, oh my god, that was a gorgeous shot. The ending, during the playthrough, I did say it is a particularly short game, and I was very worried that the ending wouldn't be satisfying. And in general, horror games do just fall under that problem of like, well, what type of ending do you want from a horror game? I feel like no matter what, you're going to disappoint someone. If it's a bad ending, like the main character doesn't get a happy ending, like some people might be very upset about that. Just length alone, the ending might not be satisfying because just nothing is answered. And in reality, nothing was sort of answered, not even within the DLC. But I'm gonna hold off on before talking about the DLC real quick. Just within the main game itself, nothing was particularly answered. Everyone fucking died, which was interesting. Not even Kaz survived, which is that was even more sad that he didn't get a happy ending. It was bad enough that Roy died, but it was even worse that Kaz just had to accept that he's never gonna see Suze and that he's never gonna see his girls anymore. And that I don't know, at least he died believing, and that's, I don't know, maybe that's the worst part of it all, that he died believing that he destroyed the horror and that his girls are gonna be okay. That's pretty fucking heart-wrenching. Do I and then like, you know, if a character does get a happy ending by the end of the game, it's like, well, some people might not like that because they want to see like everything fall apart and nothing be particularly great, and it's like, oh, if you get a happy ending, well, I don't know. It all depends on perspective. Each person is different. Each person wants a different type of thing. And I think horror in general, not just games, just all horror in general, just falls under that horrendous trap of you're never going to satisfy everyone. Me in particular, how do I feel about the ending? I think because there was DLC to play, that I was a little more accepting of the ending. I didn't hate it, even if that was even if that was it, and there was no more to the game, there was no DLC or anything, I think I'd be okay with it. Just because I already have that like mindset of just like, you know, I might be disappointed, but I enjoyed everything up until that very moment. And I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy that moment itself. I enjoyed that moment as well. I'm just saying, like, in that moment, like, okay, I'm here. This is it. I've enjoyed everything so far. No matter how it ends, I just got to remember that everything was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people that maybe I do want to see a happy ending with a hint of something fucked up still like happening. But in this case, I don't know. There was just no happy ending whatsoever, and the DLC just kind of like reinforced that hey, you know, the horror is still there. And it's not that I even thought that, like, I don't know, at the very end of the game, you would still think that the horror is still there no matter what. You really think just one fucking explosion and bam, it's it. That's it. There's nothing else. No, that's not the case. Obviously, that's not the case. But very satisfying. I was a little disappointed with the monsters. It was just one type of monster. Like, there were a number of crew members that were transformed, but they all transformed into the same thing. Just a blob. Just a blob with moving through with tentacles. Actually, it reminds me a lot of the, and I'll say it here. I did do a spoiler warning during the playthrough, but now it's reminding me of something else as well. But I'll say it right now. It's reminding me of the blob from Inside, but I think you were just moving with hands. But now it just hit me that it's reminding me of the monster from Carrion, which I do believe was moving with like tentacles, just like whipping on the walls and moving itself that way. So yeah, cool. Very cool, visually very cool, but very disappointing that every single monster was just that. Every person just transformed into just that. So that sort of sucked. The graphics, fucking phenomenal. Gorgeous. Performance, fantastic. No complaints there. So overall, base game, I loved it a lot. It was very good. There were moments where it's kind of annoying, particularly the swimming portions, the underwater portions. I don't think that was done very well. And then controls were definitely a bit bugged, where if I was just like holding something, it was very hit or miss as to whether or not I could like get out of crouch or just run, and that was pretty annoying. But outside of those instances, once I like figured out like what was like triggering it, it wasn't really an issue. So overall, base game, I loved it. Absolutely phenomenal game. DLC, I was very curious about the DLC because going into the Steam page, it was straight up like, hey, don't read this if you haven't played the game. Our little blurb for this will spoil the game. So I was like, okay, that's okay. So I can't read it, but I mean, okay, whatever. So it continues off of the end of the game, or at the very least, like, it'll make references to the end of the game. So going into it, I immediately thought like, oh, okay, so this is happening right after. See, I was very curious as to how it was going to go about, because like, you destroy the rig at the end of the game, so like, what else is there? What else is there to do? Also, I was kind of disappointed that there was no deep sea walking in the base game, but it is here. So that my desire for that was fulfilled in the DLC. And I will say, play the DLC as well. Play the whole thing. You're definitely going to want to experience the whole thing as one package. It's definitely a lot more satisfying that way. So I got my whole deep sea walking through this game. It was great. I loved it. At first I was like, oh, it's a prequel. Maybe we get to see like how everything went down, how things occurred, like how the whole incident started. I think that would have been extremely interesting. But at the same time, I'm also okay with how it went. To see the aftermath as well, I'm okay with that. I'm not disappointed in any way. Swimming was completely different than the main game. It was a billion times improved. It was a nightmare in the base game. It was phenomenal. It worked absolutely fantastic in the DLC. I'm glad they got that down. Because if the swimming did not feel good, that's the entire DLC. The entire DLC, you're just swimming. So I'm glad they nailed it pretty much perfectly. So basically, the entire DLC, you're just grabbing mementos, and that's okay. It was neat that you ran into some people, Finley in particular, and someone who is almost implied to have been Kaz, but I don't think it was Kaz. There's no way it could have been Kaz because they were holding a lighter, and there was only one lighter in the game. That's what confused me. But it was super cool to see that Mary knew all these people. Like, they weren't just random people. For the most part, they weren't just random people, but she actually knew some of them. So like her seeing them, she was like, oh shit, that fucking sucks. Overall, it was very fun grabbing mementos and seeing what she had to say about them. It was very fun seeing the entire aftermath of everything. I'm glad that there was a horror. It was more towards the end, but I'm glad it was there. And in general, both the main game and the DLC, I don't think it overstayed its welcome whatsoever. I think it was just as long as it needed to be, and I would almost be willing to see horror games have terrible replayability, but there are a ton of achievements. I only got, Steam says 59%, 35 out of 59 achievements, and the game is just short enough that I think I'm willing to run through it and just look up guides and just grab all the extra achievements. That's how much I like this game, that I'm willing to go back and 100%. This was a ton of fun. The horror was in the DLC was pretty good. Again, the acting phenomenal. Mary was kind of stupid. There's a lot of instances where Mary was just really dumb, but I don't hate her character whatsoever. And then the reveal that, okay, like, it was, you had hints here and there that she was here for a reason. Like, she chose to do this. Like, she actively chose to be part of this expedition, and that was interesting. And it was interesting to finally find out, oh, she's looking for her father. And then it was even more interesting to find out that her father was Brody. That kind of hit. Brody was pretty cool. I liked them. Overall, excellent DLC as well. I experienced this just back to back, all one go, 2 sessions. I'd like to think that I wouldn't have been disappointed in the base game if I were to have played it the day it came out. And I would like to think that I wouldn't have been disappointed in the DLC had I played it when that came out, because I was very satisfied with both experiences. Definitely recommend playing it yourself and supporting this game, this studio. I definitely want to see more from them. This was a phenomenal game. Thank you so much for getting to the end. If you watched the entire playthrough, or if you're watching the clips version of the final thoughts, I really appreciate you checking this out. Go check out the whole playthrough. I had a lot of fun. If you like if you like hearing dumb, stupid voices, that was the entire playthrough. And really, I did it just because I was having fun. I love accents. I love doing accents. I love doing voices, and it was fun practicing my Scottish accent. It was terrible. It was god awful, but I had a lot of fun. So I think that's it for me. I actually have my my freaking outro up this time, just because I was curious as to what it was, because I never get it correct, but I actually have it up this time. So that's it. That's the end of the series. That's the end of the final thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing or becoming a member of the channel, and follow me on Twitch for more of my shenanigans. Most importantly, hit up the Discord where you can keep up with all my projects, uploads, and live streams. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I'll see you in the next one.